This is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. The danger of a fast-growing fire in southeast Montana spelling trouble for firefighters and forcing hundreds of people to evacuate their homes tonight. The Richard Spring Fire in Rosebud County has grown to nearly 200,000 acres, forcing the entire town of Lame Deer to be evacuated due to the threat of fire. Residents in Ashland and people along the Tongue River were also asked to leave their homes. The Richard Spring Fire sparked 3 days ago. It's burning about 10 miles southwest of Colstrip, nearly tripled in size just today, driven by high winds, low humidity, and the dry, hot conditions. It's impacting Ashland, the Amish community north of there, and has been moving fast toward Lame Deer, now only about 3.5 miles away at last report. It's also shut down several roads in that area, could keep many people without power for days. The DNRC area director says that fires now jumped the Tongue River and is drifting north currently. However, officials are now concerned about 2 other fires burning in the area, which is closer to Lame Deer, and that's the reason for the mandatory evacuation. He says some structures have been destroyed, but so far they haven't heard of any homes being lost. I just spoke with Rosebud County PIO Courtney Haas for the very latest on the fire.
We have a back burn being done on top of the divide from mile marker 51 to 50 next to Highway 212 to create a line there. We also have blade and dozer working a line 4 miles north of Ashland on the east side of the Tongue River because the fire did jump the Tongue River. We have evacuations for Lame Deer, Ashland, and Muddy Creek. We also have pre-evacuations for Lower Rosebud Creek from Greenleaf Creek to Cherry Creek. And we also have power outages in Busby, Lame Deer, Ashland, and Fernie. Right now they're estimating the power being out for 3 to 5 days, and they're asking the public to stay away from the power lines that are down because they do not know which poles are hot right now. We just ask that people would stay away from the fire. We don't need any extra traffic traveling the roads if need be, and to please call if they have any questions or need any information on the fire, to go ahead and call 406-290-3017 just to keep our emergency lines open.
That was Courtney Haas, the Rosebud County PIO. Q2's Mitch Leahy has been on the scene all day and joins us now with the very latest from this very dangerous situation. Mitch?
That's right, Russ. I'm out here at the Busby Gymnasium here in Busby, where folks have been being evacuated from Lame Deer. That fire situation changed tonight around 6 p.m. when strong winds pushed that fire within 3.5 miles of Lame Deer. And Northern Cheyenne President Donna Fisher sounded the emergency siren and ordered Lame Deer residents to evacuate to Busby, which is a few miles down the road. I also received word around 9:30 p.m. tonight that the multi-purpose center in Crow Agency has been set up to take in evacuees. Both Busby and Lame Deer are currently without power, and officials are working to bring a diesel generator here to the Busby gym. But if folks need that power for any medical reasons like oxygen or dialysis, they are asked to go to Crow Agency. Now, people have been coming in and out of the evacuation site here in Busby over the course of the evening. And for some people who were in Ashland, this is their second evacuation. First, they were evacuated in the afternoon to the Lame Deer Boys and Girls Club, then around 6 p.m. told to come here. Again, if people need a place with power tonight, they should head to Crow Agency. A Lame Deer woman who evacuated with her 3 grandkids, 2 cats, and guinea pig said now is the time to pray.
Pray for maybe rain or the winds to quiet down, and for safety of all the firefighters, all the people on scene, and for our communities, for their prayers for their safety.
Now, I heard from officials at a 6 p.m. update meeting earlier tonight that a Type 2 incident management crew with the Rocky Mountain Incident Management Team will be coming out here to the fire at some point tomorrow to help take over the command. Reporting here in Busby, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Mitch. And late tonight, FEMA did authorize funds to help with firefighting costs related to this fire. Now we want to send it over to Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh in the Weather Center. And Ed, the weather is always key to fighting these wildfires, and it certainly hasn't given us much help as of late.
That's right. And as we take a look into tomorrow, the wind is going to be the biggest concern. Go ahead and take a look and see where we are right now. Across the area, the winds have eased up a little bit. Here's where the fire is. Colstrip, Lame Deer, Ashland, kind of forming a triangle around it. You see that northerly wind, so it's driving the flames more towards Lame Deer and Ashland, and thus the evacuations there. Now the winds ease up overnight to less than 10 miles an hour, but notice here we are about 6 a.m. in the morning. The winds start to increase throughout the day. Now the humidity starts to drop, and while it won't be as brisk as today, there's still going to be a factor into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Here we are about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Watch as we take it into the evening hours, and the winds will start to shift. You'll see that in the upper right-hand portion of your screen. That will push the winds down from the northeast, and those could be rather brisk at times. So that's another challenge for firefighters by tomorrow evening. Closer look at the forecast details a few minutes from now.
Well, COVID-19 continues to skyrocket across Montana as the state reported 493 new cases today. That was the highest number since early January. More than 2,400 Montanans are currently fighting the virus, with 624 of those in Flathead County. 154 patients are currently hospitalized across the state. Well, more than 1,700 people have now died since the pandemic began. And the news isn't any better here in Yellowstone County. Yellowstone County registered 85 new cases today, bringing the active case total to 325. Of those, 53 are in the 2 Billings hospitals fighting the virus. 16 patients are in intensive care, with 11 on ventilators tonight. We've not seen these type of numbers since mid-January. But with a spike in COVID-19 cases, we're asking those with Metro Park what, if any, changes are in store at this year's Montana Fair. As Q2's Andrea Lutz reports, with the grandstands gone, big events with large crowds will all move inside.
Officials with Metro Park are getting ready for this year's Montana Fair, and you're going to find that there are quite a few changes coming to this year's events. But what's probably not going to change, it's COVID-19 precautions. That's with an increase in cases here in Yellowstone County.
The carnival's in town, and crews are setting the stage for this year's Montana Fair.
We love the fair. The smiles are really what we look for.
Metro Park's Ray Massey says there's some new attractions.
Well, the brand new things at this year's Montana Fair would include Dig It Days, where we have the big vehicles for kids to play on. I mean, you never have been in the cab of a Cat 777 haul truck.
And some free space thanks to the demolition of the grandstands and barns.
Now, so we're really looking forward to letting people see just how big Metro Park really is when they come to Montana Fair this year.
But COVID-19 is trying to deflate the fun. Massey says while some pandemic-era precautions will stay in place,
we'll keep on the sanitation protocols we used during the 2020 fair. It may not be as heavy as what we did in 2020, but certainly we're all very aware of the virus being active in the community, and we want to make sure people are safe when they come to the fairgrounds.
He also says there's a plan for inside the arena where events will take place this year.
We have upgraded that facility to be able to turn the air over even faster, so the areas that you're in will have air moving much more quickly.
Overall, he hopes this year's fair events will bring back a sense of normalcy.
After what we've been through now for the past 18 months, this is the time we want to come together and enjoy ourselves and have a wonderful time at Montana Fair this year.
And the fair is looking for workers, just like everyone else seems to be around the state. In fact, Ray Massey said that they'll hire between 20 and 25 new people here this year at Montana Fair. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Thanks, Andrea. Montana Fair runs from August 13th to the 21st. Well, a property with a long Billings history and a tie to several crimes in the past is now demolished. The lazy KT Motel in downtown Billings is no more. Last month, City Council voted unanimously to approve the property owner's ask, and the Billings Industrial Revitalization District is footing the bill. Over the last 2 years, that motel was the source for more than 300 emergency responder calls. There are currently no plans as to what will replace the motel. A bipartisan $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill cleared the U.S. Senate today. In Montana's 2 U.S. senators split their votes on the measure. MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us what they had to say and what happens next on this major spending package.
The bill passed 69-30, with 19 Republicans joining all 50 Democrats and independents in favor. Montana Republican Senator Steve Daines was not among them. He voted no, noting the Congressional Budget Office estimated the bill will increase the national debt by some $250 billion over 10 years. Daines said it's part of a reckless tax and spend spree embarked on by congressional Democrats. But Democratic Senator John Tester was part of the 10-senator bipartisan team that negotiated the bill and said the CBO didn't count revenues he believes will cover the costs.
I can tell you that myself and the other 9 people on this committee wanted to make sure we didn't add to the debt. For those people that stood up and said we can't afford this right now, I would say, well, when can we afford it?
Tester said members of Congress have been talking for years about a package to refurbish the nation's aging infrastructure, and now it's finally happening.
That will finally provide a once-in-a-century investment in our crumbling infrastructure and make sure that we maintain our competitive edge over China. And why that's important is because China wants to be the preeminent economic power in the world. If we don't do things like make investments in infrastructure, they may well be able to do that.
He said the bill has $2.8 billion for Montana highways, as well as money for bridges, water systems, airports, and expansion of high-speed internet into rural and other underserved areas. Tester also touted its investment in the electricity grid and electric vehicle charging stations, forest fire prevention efforts, and flood mitigation. Now the bill goes to the U.S. House, where Tester said he's hopeful it can pass by the fall. We also asked Republican Governor Greg Gianforte if he supports the bill and if he'll be calling the legislature into special session to authorize spending federal infrastructure money. Gianforte said the bill is not fiscally responsible, but if it passes, he can't appropriate funds without legislative approval.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens in D.C.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Well, after weeks of fighting and denying, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is now resigning. Cuomo says he'll leave office in the interest of the people he represents after an investigation by the state attorney general found he sexually harassed 11 women. Several Democrats, including President Biden, have been calling for the 3-term Democratic governor to step down for a few weeks now. Despite his resignation, Cuomo still faces criminal investigations as well as potential civil lawsuits. New York Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will take over in 2 weeks and become the state's first female governor. Still to come on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, the Montana Highway Patrol now has a new home. We'll take you there after the break. Then a little later in sports, we're going to hit the gridiron as the Battling Bears of Rocky Mountain College look to cash in on high hopes as they prepare for the new football season.